So I forget his name, but he told me last night my mission now is to start the drums. He plays the drums, so I gotta get him started. I'm gonna start practicing.
Thank you, Lud. That's very good. You see what needs to be done? And you do. Or you try to do. This is not the right wire. This is the better wire.
Nice.
Yes.
I kind of like those.
Oh, you do? Okay, you got one.
So, is it Kijai or Kijai?
Is it Kijai or Kijai? I'm not sure of your question.
You know, we say Kijai. Is it Ki or T?
K-I.
K-I?
Yeah.
K-A-I.
Yeah. It's like a long I. So it sounds like Yi. And it means, it's a good question what that means. Kijai, more or less, is a way of saying, wow. It's switched. We're good.
Yeah, buddy.
Good.
So he said Kijai is like saying wow.
You're about like Kijai. She's about like wow.
Yes.
You got your little book? You go along? You know what page the song is on? Jai Radhamana? I don't know. Near the beginning. Just see control and order.
I seen it right before the class, right?
Right now. That's good. That's good. The other day we did take a little walk from the cup, but I didn't touch it on the Not a problem. We're good. I don't think I'll need any more.
Jaya Radha.
That's the one. Have a seat.
Okay, gentlemen. Here we go. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Braja Jana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Mr. Bhad Paramahamsa Bharadikacharya Ashtotartha Shri Srimad Divine Grace Shri Sri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Bharadikacharya Ashtotartha Shri Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glory to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Okay, it's just us. Narayanam Namaskritya. Okay. Narayan Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Madiriyet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, we should offer our respectful obeisance unto Lord Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author, and unto Srila Prabhupada, the translator, commentator, and our spiritual master. I don't know if I offered my obeisance to Saraswati, the goddess of learning. I think I did. Nashta prayesha badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatyuttama shloke bhakti bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes on Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering devotional service to the pure devotee, all that is inauspicious within the heart is destroyed almost to nil, and loving devotion to the Supreme Lord, who is glorified in transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. On this 25th day of August 2017 in SanDiego, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We are in Canto 3, entitled The Status Quo. Chapter 25, The Glories of Devotional Service. Text number 26. Bhaktya puman jati viraga aindriyad. Puman jati viraga aindriyad. Drishta shutan mad rachananu chintaya. Drishta shutan mad rachananu chintaya. Chittasya yato gahane yoga yukto. Chittasya yato gahane yoga yukto. Yatishyate vijubhi yoga margai. Yatishyate vijubhi yoga margai. Bhaktya puman jati viraga aindriyad. Bhaktya puman jati viraga aindriyad. Drishta shrutan mad rachananu chintaya. Drishta Shuddhan Mad Rachananu Chintaya Chittasya Yatto Grahane Yoga Yukto Chittasya Yatto Grahane Yoga Yukto Yatishyate Vijubhi Yoga Margai. Good. Try it, Roy. Bhaktya Puman Jati Viraga Aindriyad Drishta Shutan Mad Rachananu Chintaya Chittasya Yatto Grahane Yoga Yukto Rijubhir Yatishyate Vijabhir Yoga Margai. I'll chant with you. I'll chant with you. Help you along. Bhaktya Puman Jata Viraga Aindriyad. Oh, let's go. We'll do a different. Bhaktya Puman Jata Viraga Aindriyad. Okay, let's try the line together. Bhaktya Puman Jate Viraga Aindriyad Drishta Drishta. Yeah. Shutan Mud Rachananu Chintaya. Yeah. Rachana Anuchintaya. So together they make Rachananu Chintaya. Okay, next line. Chittasya Yatto Grahane Yoga Yukto Chittasya Yatto Grahane Yoga Yukto Yatishyate Rijubhir. Yeah, now the R with a dot under it, it sounds like R-I. So it's Rijubhir. Okay? It's actually a vowel. Yatishyate Rijubhir Yoga Margai. Yatishyate Rijubhir Yoga Margai. Okay, now we're going to learn what the words mean. Bhaktya, by devotional service. Puman, a person. Jatyaviragaha, having developed distaste. Aindriyat, for sense gratification. Drishta, seen in this world. Shutat, heard about in the next world. Mat Rachana, my activities of creation, and so on. Anuchintaya, by constantly thinking about. Chittasya, of the mind. Yattaha, engaged. Grahane, in the control. Yoga Yuktaha, situated in devotional service. Yatishyate, will endeavor. Vijubhihi, easy. Yoga Margai, by the process of mystic power. Translation. Thus consciously engaged in devotional service in the association of devotees, a person gains distaste for sense gratification, both in this world and in the next, by constantly thinking about the activities of the Lord. This process of Krishna consciousness is the easiest process of mystic power. When one is actually situated on the path of devotional service, he is able to control the mind. Srila Prabhupada's purport. In all scriptures, people are encouraged to act in a pious way so that they can enjoy sense gratification, not only in this life, but also in the next. For example, one is promised promotion to the heavenly kingdom of higher planets by pious fruitive activities. But a devotee in the association of devotees prefers to contemplate the activities of the Lord, how he has created this universe, how he is maintaining it, how the creation dissolves, and how in the spiritual kingdom The Lord's pastimes are going on. There are full literatures describing these activities of the Lord, especially the Bhagavad Gita, the Brahma Samhita, and the srimadbhagavatam. The sincere devotee who associates with devotees gets the opportunity to hear and contemplate this subject of the pastimes of the Lord. And the result is that he feels distaste for so-called happiness in this or that world, in heaven or on other planets. The devotees are simply interested in being transferred to the personal association of the Lord. They have no more attraction for temporary so-called happiness. That is the position of one who is yoga yukta, one who is fixed in mystic power, is not disturbed by the allurements of this world or that world. He is interested in the matters of spiritual understanding or the spiritual situation. This sublime situation is very easily attained by the easiest process, bhakti yoga. Vrijubir yoga margai. A very suitable word used here is vrijubir, or very easy. There are different processes of yoga marga, attaining yoga perfection, but this process, devotional service to the Lord, is the easiest. Not only is it the easiest process, but the result is sublime. Everyone therefore, should try to take this process of Krishna consciousness and reach the highest perfection of life. Om jnana timirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshur unmilatam mena tasmai shri gurave namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. So this is part of what I've dubbed the Sadhu Sangashtaka. Oh yes, thank you very much for that. Beginning in text 20 of this chapter, this is text 26. So what have we learned so far? He begins with the statement to his mother. This is Lord Kapila Dev speaking to his mother, glorious mother. He calls her a sadhvi in one verse, a very virtuous lady, female sadhu. Prasangamadadam pashamatmana kavayo vadusa hesha sadhushakato mokshadvaram pavatam. That this very powerful attachments that we have to this world, different varieties of sense gratification, the ears, the eyes, the tongue, etc., and subtle sense gratification for the mind, the emotions, all these different things. We're always searching how we can be pleased. So they're compared to strong ropes, adadam pasham. And the soul is bound to this world by those strong ropes of desire. And when we leave this body, those strong ropes are still there, and they tie us, they bring the soul back to another body. So this is a problem for us, birth and death. So those who are wise, kaviya, those who are kavis, who are intelligent, they know that that same attachment has to be transferred to the sadhus. And that opens the door to liberation. That's the key. Without doing that, one can go here and there, speculate, figure this out, but you have to really come in touch with someone who is a realized soul and who is giving us the knowledge, purely that's come down from Krishna ultimately. So that's the first verse. And the next question is, well, who's the sadhu? How do I recognize such a sadhu so that I can become attached and associate? So the next three verses describe that sadhu. Tatikshava karunika suridak sarvadehina majata shatravak shanta sadhavak sadhabhushana. Bhushana means like ornaments, the ornaments of the character on the sadhu. So the first one is tolerance. Tolerance is impossible really unless you have some spiritual standing. Because when you're too much bodily conscious, any little thing will disturb you. And also there's the flip side of that kind of tolerance, and that is tolerating the allurements to enjoy. That's another kind of tolerance. Both those have to be there. And very compassionate, because the sadhu understands himself to be a spirit, that everybody's a spirit. Everybody's a soul. So we're all Atma, we're all part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and we're all brothers. So empathy, this empathy, feeling others' pain and pleasure. So therefore it is said of a devotee, a real devotee, pada dukkha dukhi. This is the characteristic. Pada dukkha means that the other's misery becomes your misery. And conversely, the other's bliss becomes your bliss. So, merciful, the friend of all living beings, not just human beings, but even lower animals, and trees even, and plants. Suridaksavadev, ajata shraddha, but feels no enmity toward others, very peaceful. When you're free of material desires and you're simply relishing your Krishna consciousness, you can be extremely peaceful, and tolerant. These are the ornaments of the sadhu. And he follows the scripture. The word sadhava, Prabhupada translates as also follows scripture. So then, but it doesn't mention devotional service. So these are actually secondary qualities. They're very important, but they're secondary qualities. The first quality is the next verse. Mayanannena bhavena bhaktim kurvanti yedridham. Kapila Deva is speaking as Krishna. He says the key element of the sadhus is they have unwavering, unflinching devotion to me with great determination. Mayanannena bhavena bhaktim. Bhaktim is devotional service. Kurvanti ye dridham means with great determination. And two samples or symptoms or characteristics of the determination is matkote chakta karmanas, that they're ready to give up any activity which is an impediment to devotional service. And even they're ready to leave any relationships, friend and family, if it is an impediment to devotional service. You see? So then how do they enjoy? Then what do? Madashraya katamrishta shinbandi katayanti cha tapandi vivadastapa naitan mankata chetasa. That those who have taken shelter of me, this is madashraya, katamrishta, they're always shinbandi kandiyan, they're hearing and chanting the sweet, delightful, all attractive vibrations about me. Madashraya katamrishta shinbandi katayanti cha tapandi vivadastapan, and because they're always absorbed in thinking of me by hearing and chanting in association, which will come up in a couple of verses, they don't even feel the miseries of this world very much. You transcend that. Your mind, Madgata Cheta said, their minds are on me, and I minimize the troubles that they have. The three kinds of troubles, adi-daivik miseries. There's a big hubbub now because for the first time in many months, a big hurricane is threatening the continental United States, namely Texas. It's in the Gulf, and it's bearing down on Houston and Galveston and everything. That's called an adi-daivik misery. Believe me, I used to live in Miami. When you're in the path of one of those hurricanes, you got to batten the hatches. You got to sometimes leave. You get the storm surge right on the beach, and the flooding. It can be disastrous. Katrina. The only thing I have to say is Katrina. Or Sandy, the Northeast, came right up the coast. So these are adi-daivik miseries, earthquakes, which we're subject to here. By the way, I was right. There are all kinds of little earthquakes happening in SanDiego every so often. Every couple of days in this area. Julian is a big area for it, like that. And that's why we have this fountain balanced nicely. But as soon as you get one of these mini earthquakes, you'll see it'll go off. It's hard to keep it balanced. It's nice now. But we got to get rid of the foam. I have a plan. I'll talk to you about it. So, all these miseries you can tolerate easily and stay peaceful. Tapandi vivrastapa naitan madgata chetasa. Then he says to his mother, Taete sadhavak sadvi sarvasanga vivarjita. And I was giving another quality here, which is reiterating. These are the sadhus you need to search out, O virtuous mother, sadvi. Sarvasanga, those sadhus who are devoid of material desire. This is called vairagya, which comes up in this verse. Vairagya. Sangasteshatate praja, search them out. Search out these sadhus and associate and become attached to them. And that will sanga dosha hara hite. They will be able to take away the evils of previous bad association. Because association is just like, it can be beneficial or it can be harmful. Just like if you eat contaminated food, it's harmful. If you eat good food, it's nourishing. So the association of sadhus is extremely valuable for the soul. Purification takes place. So, but since up to this point we've associated with all kinds of things and people and everything, we have dosha, we have faults or contamination that's accrued. But this good association, hara, takes it away. Just like we had Hare, the same word in this vocative. Hara means to take away, removes. Then yesterday, we had like perhaps the most famous of the verses, of these 8 verses. Tatikshava Karunika is very famous, but this one's even more famous. So now he's saying, here's how to do it. You know, he's describing the situation. Satam pasangan mamavirya sambido bhavanti ritkana rasayana kata tajoshanad ashu apavarga vartmani shraddha ratir bhakti anukramishyati. So first he says, associating with these saints, sadhus, another word for sadhu is the sat, or plural is satam. So associating with the devotees who have these qualities, pure devotees, prasanga, the same word as in the beginning of the Ashtaka. Prasanga means intense association and attachment, not just superficial. And the meaningful association is characterized by the quality of the hearing. There's a word shushusho in Sanskrit, which means ardent hearing, with great attention, and letting the instruction, the sound vibration enter, and take it in your heart. Because you know, people sometimes they half listen in one ear and out the other, right? That happens a lot, especially if they're hearing something they don't want to hear, that challenges their preconceptions, or challenges them to give up something they want to give. So it means submissive oral reception. That's another phrase Prabhupada used. Ardent hearing or submissive oral reception. So that's what prasangan means. Satam prasangan mama virya sambido. What are you going to hear? Vibrations, conversations about me, about my powerful activities. Mama virya, Kapila Dev is singing about my. Virya in this case means wonderful pastimes. And this becomes a rasayana, a life-giving elixir for the heart, consciousness, and the ear. It's pleasing on all levels. And following this process, Tadjoshanad, one quickly, Ashu, on this path of liberation, Apavarga Vartmani. Because don't forget, that was the first premise. You're tied up by these ropes. That's just the opposite of liberation. So this is the path of liberation, to cut the ropes or untie the ropes. Apavarga Vartmani, the path of negating pavarga. Now let's just run this through, since we have some people who don't know. You may have heard it, Balaram knows. Pa-varga. In Sanskrit, it's a very scientific language, and the consonants are divided into 5 or 6 groups, I forget how many, according to how they're sounded by the tongue and the lips and the throat. So they're called vargas, groups of letters. Okay? So the pa-vargas means the letters that start with P, and they're all formed by the lips, so they're called labials. The first one is P, the second one is PH, which is a little aspirated, so it's pa, pa. Then ba is B, ba, you can see. And ba and ba, an aspirated B. And finally ma, there's 5, the M. So each one of those stands for a misery in this world. P stands for parishrama, means hard work every day, 12 hours a day. So much so that you get penila, that's the PH, foam from the mouth. Have you ever seen a horse after a race? You know, then they get foam. So this is, in other words, hard struggle for existence, Prabhupada talk about it, So that's one misery you have, In order to live in this world, you have to work so hard. And in doing so, you remain attached to this world. That's called bandha, bondage. So you're increasing your bondage here by ordinary work. And as time goes on, your situation, your physical body and everything else, it may not be so far, but at least at old age, fearful. You're fearful of danger, you're fearful of death. That's called bhaya, BH. And finally the M stands for Damodar Kumar. M stands for mrityu, death. Death is there. The same, we have this, you can see the relation between the Sanskrit and the English. We have the word martya, you have the mortuary, having to do with a place where the dead bodies are, right? Mortal, the mortal, mrityu. So these 5 things that's pavarga. We're looking for apavarga, just the opposite. The A at the beginning means non or un or negated. So this is apavarga vartmani, this is the path of liberation. Meeting with the devotees and discussing Krishna. And so, and what happens? You increase your faith in Krishna in the process of devotional service, in yourself, that Krishna can empower. The shraddha, rati means more and more attraction to the spiritual life, to Krishna, to the devotees. And finally, bhakti. Bhakti means pure devotion here. So these develop step by step by the process of just sitting down with devotees and reading Krishna book. This is the idea, is that hearing and chanting. Now the most pure form of this that we practice most directly is kirtan, sankirtan, not just kirtan, sankirtan. Sankirtan means together, you know, and it includes the dancing and the chanting. So that's hearing, chanting, hearing, chanting. One person chants the whole Hare Krishna mantra, another person hears. Oh, you can go into Jaya Jaya, there's other things to hear and chant. But basically we chant Hare Krishna. Now, the present verse describes the results of this further. So he's saying, bhaktya, by this bhakti, puman, a human being, bhaktya puman jate viraga, generates, jata means generates detachment. This viragi is essential. It's a byproduct of bhakti, but we can measure our advancement by how much vairagi we have, how much detachment from material sense gratification. So here he's saying, very powerful. Indriya, indriyas are the senses, sense gratification, you become detached. What kind? Drishta shrutan. Drishta means everything you've experienced, you know, or that the advertisers are trying to, right? They put it in front of your face. What is the billboards about? You go down the aisle of the grocery store, of the supermarket, and on the floor now they have the advertisements. Somehow or other to get your attention, to attract your mind, to enjoy, buy something, give them money. So you become immune to that. And not only that, but what you've heard about. You haven't seen it, but you read about the heavenly planets. I can go to Indraloka and enjoy millions of times more. So I'll be very austere here. I'll practice austerities. I'm not going to enjoy here, but I'll cash in and enjoy heavenly planets. You see? That's a big part of the Vedic culture. So all of these other sacrifices, besides Krishna consciousness, people want a better situation here, or they want to go to heaven and enjoy for millions of years. So all of that, you become viraga, no raga, no attachment. Jishtasha, mad rachanana, how? Mad rachanana chintaya, by focusing the mind, anuchintaya, absorbing the mind in mad rachana, my activities. Now rachana has different meanings, I looked it up this morning. It can mean a performance. So Krishna's Leela are like that. You know, sometimes he's compared to a dancing actor. The whole thing is choreographed. It's all, he's the prime director and the prime actor in the play. And those in the Leela, they're not aware of it being a play. You know what I mean? But it's all Krishna's arrangement for loving exchange. So that's mad rachanano chintaya. Meditating on Krishna's pastimes, and not just the pastimes of in Vrindavan, but the pastimes of creation also. Then you realize from all of this how petty and insignificant and self-defeating is absorbing in the petty sense gratification. So this, then he says, chittasya yato, in this way, controlling the mind, you see, engaging the mind, always in thinking of me, glorifying me, thinking of ways to help others to think of you. Grahane yoga yukto, remaining in yoga this way, in bhakti yoga. One performs yatishate rijubhiya yoga magai, the most easy form of yoga. What could be more easy than just, it's not so easy. We started the class, there were only 2 fellows here. And there's like millions who aren't here. So it's not so easy to come to this, but if you really take to it, compared to, it's interesting, Kapila Deva is going to describe the process of pranayama and meditation. Now it's all meditation on Vishnu in the heart and it's bhakti. But before he does any of that, he describes this easiest process, which is there for us. This is basically Lord Chaitanya's movement. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the preface, you'll find that Prabhupada says that Lord Chaitanya's teachings are non-different from Lord Kapila's teachings of Sankhya. And this is, overall is called Sankhya Yoga. But, the underlying knowledge that we need to have for this includes the things that we find in Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna talks about his energies, and we understand the 24 elements. You know, you got the senses, the 2 kinds of senses, the perceptive senses and the active senses, hands, legs, voice, etc. And you have the object of the senses. I mean, you can just understand, yeah, there's beautiful things, there's form, there's fragrance certainly, tastes, right? Touch, and most importantly, sounds. right? So these are 5, you add them all up, you get 24, 25 different elements. So this is important to know. This is our environment. This is what we have. And if we simply try to enjoy it, then that will be the source of our illusion. That will be our bewildering. But if we properly use the senses and the sense objects and these different sensations in Krishna's service, just like, what is an arti? I mean, you've got, first thing they offer is the incense, right? Well, then we're meant to, then the incense is put in there or over here, and we're smelling the remnants of that's offered to Krishna. So that's purifying. It's prasadam. Prasadam isn't just something you eat. And then we see the lamp, right? Beautiful lamp offered. Okay, that itself is kind of beautiful. And then we get the remnants, the heat. There's another sensation, and just that feeling that heat, that's purifying because it's offered. And then there's the water. There's more sensation, right? More touch sensation. And of course, we're seeing the beautiful form of the deity. We're seeing the beauty, and the sounds are there. You see how all the senses are engaged. And it's supposed to be dancing and chanting. The feet, the hands, right? The whole body gets engaged. The tongue, and This is the process of bhakti. Creating an environment that engages all your senses in connection with Krishna. That's yoga. That's the yoga yukta. So this is the easiest process of yoga. And Prabhupada describes, first he says how, scriptures in general, they try to get people to, they don't say stop enjoying, but they give him ways of enjoying within some restriction. What is the whole institution of marriage about? It's always supposed to be a religious function, right? So that you feel that some responsibility, the bound, you've taken vows, right? I promise to honor and obey, until death do we part, and so forth. So the idea is to restrict, because the natural tendency is to be lascivious and promiscuous. But no, I have my wife, and we have responsibility, and I promise before God, like that. So that's every religion has that. We have that also. And so, okay, you want to enjoy? Don't just enjoy like the cats and dogs. You'll suffer like anything. Perform these sacrifices, you'll go to heaven. You'll enjoy like anything. Okay, so that's restriction. But Krishna roundly condemns this demigod worship in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 7th chapter and in the 9th chapter. Because if you want to really utilize the human form of life for its purpose, then you need to set your sights on upavarga, of breaking free of the bonds of this material world. And that means practicing bhakti yoga, transferring your desires from the objects of the senses to Krishna, wanting to please Krishna's senses. And then you find, if you actually do that, that you're pleased in a spiritual way, and it doesn't end. It becomes much more fulfilling and much more ecstatic, actually, when you experience it. So that's, Prabhupada is describing that in the spiritual kingdom, in Krishna's the kingdom of God, pastimes are going on, and it doesn't end, it doesn't degrade. That's the idea. And we have so much facility through Prabhupada's effort. Bhagavad Gita, we have every night. Morning, Bhagavatam class, he refers to the Brahma Samhita. Beautiful descriptions by the original poet in the world. Brahma, Lord Brahma. What's one of the verses we know? Those are chant. Venum kwanantam adavinda dalaya taksham barhavatang samasitam buddha sundarangam kandapakoti kamaniya vishesha shobham govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. You may not realize it, but we hear that every morning. That's one of the, when we play the song, govindamadi purusham. So what does it mean? The meaning is the key. Venam kwanantam. He's playing that flute. And that itself is an all-attractive vibration, beyond anything. Adavinda dalaya taksham. His lotus eyes, his eyes are just like the petals of a fully grown lotus. Very beautiful and graceful. Barhavatangsam. He has his perfect peacock plume that he wears, very playful. Barhavatangsam asitam buddha sundarangam. And his limbs are very beautiful. Asita means not white, blackish. I'm like a cloud, like a fresh cloud. Asitam Buddha Sundarang, very beautiful. Kandarpa Kotika Maniya, he's attracting 10 million cupids. In other words, cupids, they try to bewilder you. But he's attracting them. He's so attractive. You know, Kandarpa Kotika Maniya, Vishesha Shobham, with all the details of his dress and his personality and everything. And this is the Govinda. I worship Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship this Govinda, the original personality. You know, and there's a whole 30, 40 prayers like that. So that's Brahma's Samhita. That was given to us originally by Lord Chaitanya. I mean, he found it. He excavated it from South India, brought it back, and made it current. And now it's part of our canon. So what to speak of Bhagavatam? All these descriptions, you know, the creation, so much philosophy, and then the pastimes of Krishna descriptions. This is where our mind should be absorbed. That's what he said. Manashaya katam rishta shinbandi katayanti cha. This is how we transcend the miseries of this world and how we enjoy life. So devotees aren't interested with any happiness either in this world or heaven. They're simply interested in being transferred to the personal association of the Lord. In Prabhupada's, immortal phrase, going back home, back to Godhead. There's a lot in there. The two main, back and home. Is our home means this is the place where you never want to leave, and no one can make you leave. There's no such thing here. You may have your, $1 million house in SanDiego, whatever, Certainly if you have an apartment, it's obviously not your home. You can be evicted. But even if you own your home, you own a big estate, the body is your real home, and you're going to be evicted from there. So we need a spiritual body that never dies, that is always eternally youthful. That's the promise. So that's what it means to go to the spiritual world. But to do that, we have to transfer our desires to Krishna. That's the Vairagya platform. This sublime situation is very easily attained by the easiest process, Bhakti Yoga. So easy, in the 9th chapter, Susukam Kartamaviyam. 2nd verse, Raja Vidyaraja, that this process of bhakti is extremely happily performed. That implies easy. Susukam Kartamaviyam, and it's everlasting. So not only is it easy, but the result is sublime. Therefore, everyone should take to the process of Krishna consciousness and reach the highest perfection of life. Any questions, comments on this verse or on the rest of the Sadhu Sangashtaka? We only have one more verse left. This is the 7th verse. Okay. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hari Hari Bol.
Sunday night? Yeah. You got somebody for an ashram?
Yeah.
Who's it going to be?
Radha Johnson. Asked Dharma Satan, he said, he wasn't against it, but he said, ask Radha Dasi.
Probably. Radha Dasi, do you run on ashram?
Yes, she's going to give, but Radha's going to give this Sunday. She's going to give Radha Dasi first Sunday, and I think Srimad Dutta will come back down
Okay.
on September 10th. Yeah, they'll give that talk.
We have a devotee coming from Chicago or so.
Oh, yeah.
Nanda Priya, yeah.
Nanda Priya?
What's his name? Not Nanda Priya. Nityananda Prana. Nityananda.
He's a Tamil president there.
He was. Actually, his wife is actually functioning now as a president. He has a piece of business and send his kids to school.
Oh, really?
He's on a board and everything.
He's working there.
Yeah, and he's coming down here to learn some things.
Okay. San Diego.